I said, in these Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal, located for you on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. So make sure you head out there today. You can also find them by going to 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and you can find them in Syracuse in three locations: 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, and 401 South Salina Street, all once again in Syracuse. So make sure you head out there today, support local, and let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way. So I appreciate you for all that you do and appreciate you for being here. This is a fantastic opportunity this morning for us, and spending hour number one with Alyssa DiMillo, spending hour number two with Papa Joe. Alyssa's going to be joining us from Alfred University, the Saxons guard who played at Liverpool with the Warriors just a short time ago, is going to be joining us here this morning momentarily, picture in picture, for a video special to remember. We're going to talk about her journey from Liverpool to Alfred, as well as adversity and her strength, and just unbelievable story, a wonderful fight that she has in her. A very inspirational morning this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with Alyssa. And then in hour number two, Papa Joe joins us in his normal post here on Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, as him and I will talk about the craziness of the NFL offseason, all these moves going on, and a lot of players that you know, especially in fantasy football, shifting that you're going to have to make note of. And from there, we'll also get his opinion on Jim Boeheim and some of these coaches that have been hanging it up over these last couple of years, and what it means to him, as a lot of these names are now stepping away from college basketball and collegiate athletics when it comes to being on the sidelines. So a lot of great stuff coming up inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. So with that being said, we bring Alyssa in picture. Miss DiMillo, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Now, Alyssa, I mean, when you and I, when we message back and forth, it's like a lot of energy, a lot of stuff. And then when I have you on the phone or on video, you're very mellow. So how do you balance between are you a texter more than a phone call? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't really call people, I guess.
Okay. So bring me into life right now, because it's been a little bit since you and I have had the opportunity to talk. So you were at Liverpool. We'll go through the journey. We'll talk about, a bunch of different pieces as we go here. But what is life at Alfred University been like for you, and just what you could tell me about where you currently are in not only as an athlete, but as a student?
So last year I had kind of a weird year because I was at home for like half of it, with my surgery. So last year I didn't really get the full experience, but this year I've been on campus for a full year. It's a small area, so that is a struggle for some people depending on where they're coming from. But I really enjoy it here. We had a good basketball season that just ended a few weeks ago. So we're in off-season training now. We have classes going on. We just got back from spring break. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here.
So you just had coming off a good season. What was it about this season that you felt is something positive to build on?
So we had our first clinch for the playoffs, for the conference tournament in program history. So Coach Mike's been doing a good job with the program since he came here, and we have a lot of important pieces coming back next year. So I think that that'll be another good season for us.
What is it about Alfred that spoke to you, that made you want to go there when you're looking at continuing your career as a basketball player, as well as finding the right place for you to study when it comes to academics? Why did Alfred fit?
So school wise, I really liked that it was smaller because I wanted to get to know my professors and have them know me, kind of be able to create a relationship with them instead of being in a class with hundreds of other students. So that was something really important to me when I was looking academically.
Yeah.
Athletically, when I was getting recruited, I I had kind of went MIA when I tore my ACL my junior year. And so a lot of my college interest was gone because I hadn't really reached out to anybody.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't playing, people weren't sure if I was going to make it back or not. And Mike here always had confidence in me and still gave me a shot anyways. So that really stood out to me. I mean, there was a few other schools that were also still interested, but Mike really had the most interest in me.
And how did he show you that? How did your coach that you have here at Alfred, how, when you say, he had the most interest in me, how did he display that consistently with you?
We texted multiple times a week, every week. He was always reaching out to me, asking about how school was going, how my senior year was going, how my family was. He watched our games online. I'm sure if we had fans allowed to come because it was COVID, that he would have came to a bunch of games. Um, and he even came to Syracuse and worked me out before I came to campus after I got cleared. So that was something that really stood out to me.
That coming here from Alyssa DiMillo this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And in order to get to where you got to with Alfred, you had to rehab. You had to get better. You had to find your way back. And that was something that was a tough road. And, I remember you and I sat and we talked at Avicoli's, where we do the Liverpool Warriors show every month. And we sat down next to each other and we discussed you going through injury. And after we discussed that, you got hurt again. And you had to go through it again. So when we go back to that moment where you and I were talking about you going through injury, your adversity, the get back, and then it happened again, how did you handle that? Because I thought your story was compelling and tremendous back then, that you were fighting through things. And so here I am, happy for you. And then I get message from your family like, hey, she went down again. I mean, how could you, especially as young as you are, have navigated through something like that more than once?
It was a lot more difficult mentally the second time. It felt like everything I had just done was for nothing. And then after, I mean, we only played like 12 games my senior year, so I really went almost like 3 years without playing basketball at all. And it felt like everything that I had done, even before the first one, was just like for nothing, because I had to basically restart all over again with both my basketball skill and also my physical, like my muscle and my strength training and stuff, was all back to square one. And I think I just kept in my head like, I've already done this before, I can do it again. I've always wanted to play in college, so just keeping that in my mind, like, just get back, like, we still can do it.
Yeah.
And I had a good support system around me. I had a lot of people in my corner, so that helped too.
And for those that don't know what we're talking about here, I'd love for you to share kind of the injury road that you had so that people know what you've been through, because there's been a lot.
So the summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school, it's called a terrible triad. So it's an ACL tear, MCL tear, and meniscus tear. So I did that in my right knee that summer, the summer of 2019. And then my senior year was COVID, so we played like 12 games. I got cleared way before that, so I got to play.
Yeah.
And then I came here to Alfred. The first day of practice, I actually broke my nose. I got hit with an elbow. So I was out for like a month. And then my first day back at practice after getting cleared, I did the same thing to my other knee. So I ended up redshirting last year, and then I got cleared the first day of practice this year.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been through a lot, and it's been such a unique thing, right, to happen. So it's not something that probably was even on your mind, maybe even knew what it meant when it happened. And you had to go through it, right? You had to navigate through it. You had to find a way to get through it. You said you've had a good support system. Bring me into those that have been there for you, because I know you and I were talking off the air about, going to spend some time with your sister, and obviously, your dad keeps in touch, and is always good about kind of letting me know what's going on and whatnot. So I know that you have a special family, but I'd love for you to share that support system and what it meant to you that they were there.
So definitely my family was a big part. Even though I know I make people nervous now when I play, and especially my parents, but they've always been supportive. When I decided that I wanted to like try again, they were supportive of me. I also have a lot of friends both at home
Yeah.
and here. My teammates played a big part as well. When I was at home, they were always in touch with me. I would drive to games that were close to Syracuse, and they were always really excited to see me. They would all like fight over sitting next to me on the bench so they could talk to me. And my coaches too, they were always in contact with me, asking how stuff was going. And then my doctors, my physical therapists, the athletic trainers here, just the list goes on and on. And it was really important because, um, as I said before, the mental part this time was a lot harder than the
Yeah.
first time. And I think having those people that support me and knowing that they believe in me, that helped kind of keep my head in the right place.
Here with Alyssa DiMillo coming from the Liverpool Warriors girls basketball team, moving on to the Alfred University Saxons women's basketball team here in the state of New York, and on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You said that the second time around, Alyssa, that mentally it was more difficult. How do you get through an even more challenging mental side of things? Because we talk about stuff, and we might have talked about this a couple of years ago when it came to the reality that if you don't have a strong mind, you're in trouble, right? Because life is going to throw things at you, and mentally, if you're not positive, if you don't know how to talk your way, talk yourself through things and beyond things, that life can really get you. So when you say it was harder the second time around mentally, what did you do to navigate the waters of a tougher mental journey?
I just tried to keep in mind that even though it was a terrible thing, I wouldn't like go back and change it. I think I learned a lot from it, and I'm a lot stronger person because of it. And I think that things happen for a reason. So I just tried to keep that in my mind and stay positive. Um, and I had already done it before. I knew I could do it again. So just trying to keep like reinforcing that positivity within myself.
Yeah, and when and how, I mean, mentally for you, was there anything, any type of exercise or something that you taught yourself? Because I know that for me mentally, and I keep it very close to my vest, but there's certain things that I know work for me, right? Certain things you could say to yourself, certain things that you can do. you know People pray, they do yoga, they take walks. There's things that they kind of couple with the mental side of things to kind of free their mind. So did you have anything that you consistently did to free up your mind or clear your mind, whatever it may be?
So one cool thing I had the opportunity to do while I was hurt was I got into coaching a little bit.
Yeah.
So during my first rehab, the first time, I had coached a AAU team out of Jamesville Duet with a bunch of girls from there. They were fifth and sixth grade at the time, I think. Um, and so I got into that, and that was something I really enjoyed, and it kept me involved in the sport, even when I couldn't participate. And I think when I came back and got cleared that I saw things differently, I feel like I saw more, and my IQ had improved from coaching. Um, and then the second time, I helped out Brian Chermonti with his AU team. So me and his daughter did that in the spring while I was rehabbing my second one.
So when you have that opportunity to coach with an AAU team, that's a unique world for you. And being young and getting an opportunity to be on the sideline, like you said, you feel like it helped you with the game even more. What did you take away from the coaching aspect of it And do you look at your coach now and kind of realize sometimes when, because players typically, I mean, you see it from a player perspective, and if you want to play more, you saw something differently, you might look at the coach and say, well, this is how it is. But now that you've been on the coaching side, do you feel like maybe you go to look at coach and maybe laugh it off a little bit and go, okay, I know what you're saying?
I think what I took away from it most is, especially from being on like the national circuit with Brian's team, is the scouting aspect of it. They were at a couple of the tournaments I was coaching at, and I got to like walk around and recruit with them a little bit. So that was um, a really good experience, I think, for me to kind of see what they do behind the scenes. And also during our season, when we like go over scouts and we learn the other team sets and stuff, I think that was also something that I learned, like how much work goes into that and how much they do outside of practice to like get us ready for games and stuff, and to get our upcoming players um, ready and to find talent for upcoming seasons.
So for you to be able to be on the recruiting trail and also scout and game plan, what has that done for you as a player to see that and be able to dive into that? Does it give you an interest in maybe wanting to be a coach someday?
I actually have a coaching minor right now, so
Oh, nice.
maybe something on the side. I don't know. I'm not really sure specifically what I want to do yet, but it's definitely something I'm interested in.
That coming here from Alyssa DiMillo on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Let's go back to those Liverpool days. I know that like we talked about, there was the adversity of what you had to go through, but at the same time, there's positive moments, right? And there's bonds that you build. What are your fondest memories now that you've had time to reflect on being a Warrior? What can you say about Liverpool that has meant so much to you?
We had a really great team my senior year. We were all really close. We had a lot of really smart and talented players on that team, and there was no sectionals that year, so we didn't get to fight for anything. And our record didn't really show how great some of our players were. Um, but even we had some small little problems during the season between some of the people on our team, and we always got through it. We were really close. And still, a lot of the players I talked to, like Vic, I talked to Vic still, Sarah. Um, and I went back, I watched their regional game last weekend. Nevaeh looks really good. I'm really happy for her. She's going to St. John's next year. And they have some really young players that are going to be really good coming up. So I'm excited for them. I'm happy for what they've done this season. They've done some really great stuff with Coach Wheeler. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, yeah, he's doing a fantastic job, and this is a team that in his first season there is vying for a state title. First time they've gotten back to the Final Four since 1988. So even though you're not physically on the squad right now, what do you want to say to the girls that are working their tails off to do something that hasn't been done in history in a long time?
Just keep working hard. I know they've got it in them. They've got a really talented team this year too, and they're really smart. Um, I think that the couple games that I've seen, they looked good. So I think just keep working hard and stay composed, and they'll be good to pull that championship out.
And I'm sure you'll be paying close attention. You keep an eye on it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we look at what you've had here, and something really special, Alyssa, is that Empire 8 Sportswoman of the Year you received just back here on February 22nd. Bring me into what that means to you. We've talked about your journey. We've talked about the injuries, the things that have happened, and the uniqueness of them. And then in the middle of all of it, COVID that happened. So to get all the way through that, get back on the court, and to be named Empire 8 Sportswoman of the Year, I'd love to know what that means to you.
So it was really unexpected for me, actually. I actually didn't even know that I had gotten it until they posted it on social media. So I found out with everyone else.
Okay.
And it's important to me because I think even though I didn't play a whole lot of minutes this year, as I was still coming back, um, in practice, I was a really positive energy. On the bench, I was cheering as loud as I could and trying to help my teammates out during practice with plays and just knowing the sets so that I can help other people and trying to take on like smaller leadership roles as an underclassman. I think it was nice to know that even though I wasn't on the court during games, that people were recognizing that I was working hard and doing as best as I could to have positive impact on the team.
Like you said, coming back and not having as many minutes, right? But still being positive, still putting yourself out there, still doing what you could do. Bring me into that. How again mentally you stayed positive, you stay with it. You want more time out there. You want your body to get right, feel right. So as you're going through that adversity and you want to be on the floor and you're coming back into the game, some people sit at the end of the bench and they don't pay attention. They don't care. They're not in it. Mentally, they're not there. Emotionally, they're not there. They want to go home. It doesn't matter to them. Why am I not playing as much? Why do you stay so positive?
I think before the season started, I kind of knew what it was going to look like for me, and for me, the most important part was to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Um, so and for my coach too, he knew that, so he didn't try to put me in situations where I would like fall apart and try to push me too hard because he wants me to be healthy for next year too. And I think the goal was always to have next year as a breakout season. So I think in my head, I knew that I probably wasn't going to play a ton of minutes, but I knew that I could still have a big impact on the team by picking up my teammates, and that we were really undersized compared to our opponents, and we had a small number of girls on the team, and that people were going to need to pick me up for us to keep going and keep playing good. So I knew that that was something important that we needed, and that in my situation, I was a good fit for that role.
So, like you said, coming back from injury, kind of had to take it easy this year. How is your patience? Because if it wasn't good a couple of years ago, I would imagine that your patience has evolved. How would you describe your patience?
Um, I think I don't know. There's some situations where I'm very impatient, but when it comes to basketball, I think that having the background of a point guard helps.
Yeah.
Just kind of staying calm and composed. I think that that has helped me, and also I think I've just been looking forward to next year, like breaking out, having a good season, and getting an opportunity to play next year. I think that's kept me motivated and just kind of staying in the moment and going along for the ride with the rest of the team this year, as we had like a historic season, was fun to be a part of, even though I wasn't on the court playing all the time.
And like you said, being a part of a team, even though you're not on the court all the time, but having a historic season, feeling a part of a team, even when individually it may not be what you want, right? Individually, you want to be out there more. Individually, you never wanted to get injured. Go into that being on a team and truly being a teammate, because there's a lot of people that are on teams. There's you look at husband and wife, right? They're supposed to be on a team, but are they always on a team? You look at people that are in a business and they're all trying to get something done and they're on a team and they have a task, but are they really on a team? Are they really teammates or are they just on a team? When you're on a physical sports team, there's a lot of individuals that are teammates, but are they teammates? So there's a difference between being on a team and being a true teammate. Why are you a true teammate and not just on a team?
Me and my coach actually were talking about this the other day, the difference between our team last season and this season. Last season we had a lot of people who were only focused on themselves, and people who weren't getting playing time were complaining. They weren't happy. They weren't happy for their other teammates who were doing well because they weren't playing. And this year we had the total opposite, and we played great. We were on the same page all the time. And I think that just shows if you're able to put your selfishness to the side and be happy for others, when you're on a team sport, that's really important, and that is an important part of being successful.
So, and I love that. I love that, your coach and you had talked about it. You talked about Coach Mike. I'd love to go a little bit deeper into him and what he's meant to you. I know we talked about the interest that he showed in constant contact, so you knew that Alfred was going to be a good fit for you because you felt that there was an appreciation for you. But Mike Moskowitz, the head coach of this Alfred Saxons women's basketball team, when I say Coach Mike, fill in the blank. When I say Coach Mike, you say what?
He is very passionate about basketball and his job, and also our team. Um, he puts in so much work behind the scenes that people don't see. He's in the office all the time. He's he sends us film at like 2 o'clock in the morning, just because he's always up doing stuff for the team. Um, he puts in a lot of effort to make us good, and it shows because of how the program has grown since he's been here. They went from like a 2-win team to we just had our first playoff clinch in program history, and we had a winning record for the second year in a row. So he's doing a good job, and I think Alfred made a good pick with him.
Yeah, yeah, and that you got to have that passion, right? You have to have that special side to it. There's coaches that can win, but then there's coaches that make you feel like it's a family. Why does Coach Mike and his staff make you truly feel like this is more than basketball?
I think he puts an importance on other aspects of life and not just basketball. I think um, we're Division 3, so academics is a big part of our athletic department. We meet and we talk about our grades and how we're doing and if we need help, and he's always there to help us. And he has a teaching background, so that helps too. Um, he talks about how different lessons that we learn throughout our season can help us later on in life. And he ties it into life as a whole all the time. He sends us different quotes and stuff in our group chat. Um, he's a very positive person, and he shows us things and as a big picture, and not just basketball.
Alyssa DiMillo here with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, live picture-in-picture from Alfred University with the Saxons women's basketball team. You talked about your coach having a connection to the academic side of things. Academically for you, Saxon Scholar Athlete in fall of 21, spring of 22, fall of 22, Dean's List, fall 21, spring of 22, fall of 22, Empire 8, President's List, fall of 21, spring of 22, fall of 22. So doing okay there academically, Alyssa. I think we got to shout that out a little bit too. So bring me into that. Let's go into the academics. I know you said you have a connection to the coaching world right now. You've added that in, as well as I think business administration. So what has it been like academically? Because I'm looking at all these accolades as a Saxon Scholar Athlete, on Dean's List, Empire 8 on the President's List. So seems like school's going okay.
Yeah, the professors here have been great. I haven't really had any problems with any of them. Um, they, it's really important to all of them to have a connection with their students, which was something I was looking for when I was picking a school and looking academically at the different options that I had. And they're always very easy to reach. They're always willing to help if you need it. They're all involved in different clubs. Like my marketing professor this semester is part of marketing club, so I'd already met her before I took her class. So I'd already started to create that connection with her. The There's not really any gap between the athletic department and the academics. They talk to each other all the time. Most of the coaches know the professors. There's never really problems with missing classes for games and stuff. They're very understanding and they're very supportive
Yeah.
of the sports teams. We have professors at our games all the time for all sports. Um, so and also when I was at home, they were very accommodating to me. They let me take my classes at home, and they're very accommodating to all students with online options, even though classes are back in person.
Yeah, and you've been, I mean, like we talked about with your injury and then with the COVID pandemic and everything. I mean, you've been through a lot. Your road to get back, you must really love. Why do you love basketball? Because you have to really love this game. And when you and I first sat down and you were going through coming off of that injury, we discussed that a little bit there, but now you've been through even more. So I tell people all the time that in life, in anything, big or small to anybody, you find out really quickly if you love something versus if you think you love it. Because if you think you love it, you're going to go through what you went through and you're going to go, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. If you really love it, you're going to do what you have done and you're going to keep going. So, why do you love basketball so much? What is it about the sport that does something for you?
Just being a part of a team and the relationships I've made, and even when I've had like bad games or we've had hard times, hard seasons, I've just it's been so much fun to just be out on the court and play, and watching the ball go in the net is just it's fun to just be a part of it, even though it's a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
especially when coming back from an injury, it's even more hard work. But I've just always had an urge to be back on the court, even with all the stuff that's been thrown at me.
And where do you think that urge comes from?
I don't know. It's just from the when I first started playing, it's just always been something that I've gravitated towards and that I've wanted to do, and I've never felt any different about it.
That coming here from Alyssa DiMillo from Liverpool to Alfred University here in our community and moving forward and doing awesome things. I had a note that came into the feed here that all the good things that Coach is, he's a terrible dancer. Is that true?
um, I let me think. I don't. I feel like I don't really. I haven't seen him dancing that much. I mean,
Okay.
on the sidelines when he gets mad at us, sometimes he dances a little bit. But but I don't. I mean, he's very fun. He likes to have fun with us. He tries to keep things light, and he knows when it's appropriate to keep things light. Um, so yeah.
Okay. All right. How would you describe his personality overall?
I think that he's a very wise and smart person. I think he, not only basketball, but life in general, I think he's very smart. And, um, I mean, you can see it in basketball with how the program has grown. But some the things that he sends us are just like, they're very big picture things, and I don't know, they're like next level thinking. Sometimes I'm like, I read the stuff he sends, and I'm like, oh my god, I never would have thought of that way.
So he's philosophical.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that coming here from Alyssa. Alyssa, we're going to jump into rapid fire. I know that this is your favorite part. And so we have Alyssa DiMillo here with us, Liverpool alum and Alfred Saxon's guard for the women's basketball team. Happy to have Alyssa here this morning. It was a long time coming that we got back here and had an opportunity to speak with you, and we're happy to be here with you worldwide, picture in picture, on youtube.com and facebook.com /wake up call DT, facebook.com /live now DT, and on audio around the world on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So I heard that you got some assistance in making your questions for me. We're going to go back and forth. You get to start, so you can ask me whatever you want whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I like how you turned and looked at your list. I appreciate that. On your phone. All right. Okay.
Um, what is your favorite Syracuse restaurant?
I don't think that's fair. I think it gets me in trouble. So I would say, man, it's so tough because I work with so many great places. So you know what? Let me pick a place that I don't partner with that I can give a shout out to because there's a lot of great places that I work with and their food's awesome. So let me say, I was talking about this place yesterday out in Auburn. I love Lasca's. It's so good, and they have being Hispanic and Italian. It's hard to you don't always find a mix of the two, and they have this red sauce that so they come out and like whenever you go there for dinner or whatever, they come out with bread, but the bread has this red sauce, so you think, oh, okay, I'm dipping it in marinara sauce, or as we would say it in Italian, marinade. But we're out there with the marinara, and you're dipping it, but it's got a little kick to it. It's got a little spice to it. It's a little more liquidy, so it's like this dance between Spanish and Italian that sauce is. So I really like Lasca's. They give you huge portions. Their veal's good. So I'd probably say them because I really like their food. And even if you go like I could go once every 7 years and I'd still talk about it. So it's the food's good. All right, my first question for you, Alyssa. Since you put me on the spot, okay, all right. Which one of your teammates would you trust if you were jumping out of an airplane and they had to pull the chute for you? Which teammate would you trust to protect you skydiving?
Hmm.
I've never asked that question before.
I would probably pick Amber.
Okay.
She was my little bench buddy this year. She joined the team this year as a grad student. She did equestrian during her undergrad, but they didn't get COVID years, so she um joined the basketball team with her sister who was already on the team. Um and she is very smart. She's involved in a lot of things. She's just a smart person overall. She definitely would not mess it up, and I would trust her with my life.
Okay. Shout out to Amber O'Toole and Allison O'Toole as well. So what's your next one for me?
My next one is, who did you pick to win your March Madness bracket?
So I don't have there's something that I did and I wanted to, if I knew this I would have had it in the studio to show you, but there's a movie called Draft Day, and so we unveiled the bracket yesterday, and I had already unveiled my first four so people knew who I had winning the playing games, but we unveiled the entire bracket yesterday. Ross and I, my buddy Ross Turetsky, we do a thing called the Drive, and it's capital D for Dan, R for Ross inside of the Drive, and so we've done it for over a decade, and I had a thought, and it linked back to a movie in a way. There's this movie called Draft Day with Kevin Costner, and he makes all these moves, and when he finally picks the number one pick, people are flipping out, going nuts. Like he threw everybody for a loop. They're like, why did he pick that guy? And he throws a Post-it note that earlier in the movie was on his desk, and the Post-it note said, Vontae Mack, no matter what. And so I say that because a few weeks ago, and just kind of in the back of my head this season, I've thought about Houston and the Cougars. And they've gotten up to number one. They've gotten close these last few years under Kelvin Sampson. This is their third year in the last five where they've won at least 30 games. And so I was filling out my bracket. And as I was filling out my bracket, the one team that I thought about was Houston. I mean, I had Houston all the way down to the championship game without even necessarily finishing another part of the bracket at the time. And so I would tell you that I wrote on a napkin, kind of like how it was written on that Post-it note in the movie, Houston, no matter what. And that's because they're the team that's been on my mind. They're the team that's been with me for weeks. And I got to interview Kelvin Sampson, which is really cool. But no matter what the field was, what it looked like that movie, it was whatever happens, it's Houston no matter what. So Houston is the team that I have winning over Alabama 71-68. All right, my question for you, Alyssa. Let's see here. If you were the head of the NCAA, you were the president, what's the first thing that you would do for Division III?
Oh.
I know what I would do.
Um, I think maybe I would add some scholarships.
That's where I was going to go.
Maybe maybe not to like Division I scholarships because of it's just not realistic maybe, but I think I would add scholarships.
I'm with you. That's what I would have said. What's your next one?
What is one food or snack you have in your house at all times?
There's so many. I've realized what my snacks are. So I have cinnamon applesauce that I can only get from Target because it tastes different there. So cinnamon applesauce, it's sweeter there. And there's usually like one or two. Whenever I go, there's like one or two left. It's like God was like, hey, it's getting busy, but I saved you this one. And it's just like sitting on the bottom shelf. And that happened last night, actually. So I would say cinnamon applesauce from Target and Frosted Flakes, because I will literally just eat them out of the box. So Frosted Flakes, cinnamon applesauce. I always have these fruit strips. So if I don't have fruit in the house, I have like the healthy, like organic fruit. Those like fruit little, like the rectangle, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I have those as a little snack. And bananas. I have a lot of bananas more now. So I would say that. Do I have any other snacks? Those are kind of my snacks. I've tried to make myself like snack healthy. So it's fruit and it's applesauce and I got to get my Frosted Flakes in. And Frosted Flakes, they travel so well. So if you actually come to a game and you see me at a game, if I'm at a game and I'm at my computer, I usually have a little mini bag of Frosted Flakes with me at all times. So I'd say that. I like that question. What are your snacks?
My snacks are not healthy.
Okay, I want to know what they are then.
I always have goldfish.
Okay.
I always have Pringles,
Okay.
and I always have some sort of chocolate. It's usually either peanut butter cups
Okay.
or like the mini Hershey's bars.
So, if you had to choose, this is kind of like a second part to the question. If you had to choose between the mini Hershey's bars or Reese's peanut butter cups, what would you pick?
Definitely the Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are my favorite candy ever.
The reason why I asked you that is because there was a correct answer. And that is the correct answer. It says Reese's peanut butter cups. So, and you said, so goldfish, I can rock with that. I almost bought some goldfish yesterday. Goldfish are addicting though. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and you get in that little bag and you start getting after it and you think like, I can eat this whole bag right now. And then the bag seems to do this like Jesus with the fish and the bread in the Bible where like there's more goldfish. It's almost like Jesus goes, here's a few more. And so I feel like as much as I attack the bag, I get a bunch of days out of it where I'm like, I thought I ate a ton of these, but there's still a few in the bottom. Do you ever feel that way? Like these should be gone by now, yet there's like 20 left?
Yes.
So,
And I eat a lot of snacks, so they always last me the longest.
what is the flavor? Yeah, I don't know why they do. There's something about Jesus with the fish and the goldfish. Maybe Jesus had goldfish. So, what Pringle flavor is the choice?
The cheddar ones.
Cheddar ones. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Mine would probably be the barbecue. Maybe the sour cream and onion. So, how many more do you have on that list?
I mean, my mom sent me a list of like 300 questions.
Oh my good
I
lord.
could go forever.
So, can we shout
But
out
I
Mom?
have a few more that I picked out.
Okay. So, can we shout out Mom because Dad and I keep in touch And so I'd love to shout out mom because we talked about dad, so I want to talk about mom now. So just give me some love for mom. Let people know mom's name and why mom's the best, and then let's give some love for dad too. I like giving love to the good parents out there. So tell everybody about your parents. This is not part of rapid fire. I just want to show them some love.
Okay, mom is Kelly and dad is John. Um, dad is has been very supportive with basketball stuff, even though through my injuries and stuff, he's always pushed me to get back and pushed me to train and to just go for what I want to do. Um, and mom has also been very supportive. She has not been happy that I've been injured so much, but she has been very supportive too. And she's very good at cooking and baking, and she makes really good white cake with chocolate frosting that she got from my grandma.
Okay, I like it. I
And she
appreciate it.
always makes it for me when I come home.
And yeah, and it comes from your grandmother, like you said. So why is that one your favorite?
Oh, I don't know. It's just the chocolate frosting is so good. I don't really I don't know what she makes it with. I don't know why it's so good, but it just is, and we eat all of it.
I love it. So I'm gonna keep you off the hot seat because you got some more that your mom sent you. Thank you, Kelly, for the 300 plus. I appreciate that. So I'm gonna take you off the hot seat. You can put me on the hot seat. You've been great about answering my questions. You got a couple more for me. We got a few more minutes here, so you could rapid fire them away. What do you got?
Okay. What is your favorite home cooked meal by your parents?
My dad is probably his probably his baked scallops. That would probably be my favorite for my dad, and my mom would be. Gosh, my mom makes everything. I would say my mom's turkey rolled. It's like a mini Thanksgiving. You go and get like deli turkey, you get stuffing, and then you take the stuffing, you roll it inside of the turkey, and then you put it in the oven and you bake it that way, and then you take it out, and so it's like this stuffing within this like turkey taquito, so to speak, and then you just put like some gravy on it, mashed potatoes and corn. And for whatever reason, I started doing this as a kid, and now I do it all the time. God bless you. Is that I put my corn inside of my mashed potatoes and I mix that up. So I love that little turkey meal that we have, and I like my mom's goulash too because I don't know anybody else that really makes it. So, but my mom makes all kinds of stuff. Her chocolate chip cookies. Randomly, at 37 years old, my mom will still make me chocolate chip cookies, surprise me, and they're like a little bit burnt and then also chewy, and they smell incredible. And I love the smell, I think, even more than eating them. And so I'll go to my mom's house, and she'll just I'll walk in the door and there'll be the cookies sitting there, and she's like, I made you these just because. So a shout out mom for that. So I got some baking with mom too. What else you got for me?
What is your favorite interview you've ever done?
Oh, interviewing Jim Boeheim in his office twice, just him and I, because I feel like that's a very rare thing that he does. So I thank him for that. I would say all of my time with my very good friend who's now in heaven, Floyd Little. I would say Jason Leone at Oswego State because he's just an incredible human, and I'm so proud of everything he does. I don't even think he knows as much as he does. I would. There's so many. I love sitting down with Lemoyne AD Bob Beretta because we have the same vision, and we're both very hungry people and very genuinely like we fiercely take care of our own. And so I would say that Dr. Linda Lemura at Lemoyne, she's incredible, she's a ball of energy. So I love that. You know, I would say, man, there's so many, but that would be a few. And I would say outside of my show talking with my grandmothers about World War II and about their lives and about my grandfathers. Those are some really cool things too.
Okay, I have one more.
Yeah, one more. Okay.
This one is on behalf of the Alfred women's basketball team.
Okay.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
On behalf of the Alfred University women's basketball team, well, let me thank the women's basketball team. So before I go anywhere, let me do this really quick. So I would like to thank you, Samantha, Rebecca, Grace, Jessica, Carly, Allison, Lee, Jillian, Amber, and Mackenzie. And I would also thank Coach Mike, Samantha, Carson, Brandon, and Monica. So because it came from all of you, I'm going to thank you all individually. And my go-to karaoke song. Man. So it changes over time, but I would probably say... well, one of them I did was No Diggity by Blackstreet. That's a very good song. And so I would say that it's Blackstreet, Queen Bee, and Dr. Dre. So I definitely put that one out there. But I'm a sentimental guy, and I have sang all my life, so music is very important to me. So if I got up and I did one right now, it'd probably be something like Nervous by John Legend, or... yeah, probably be Nervous by John Legend, I would say. Or I would do like my rendition of maybe one of the Adele songs that's out there. So very like I like those very like heartfelt emotional songs. So I'd probably want to sit at a piano and do something special. I'd probably say that. So I like the question. I've never been asked that. My go-to karaoke. I do like that. And Journey's always a good bet too. There's always some good Journey songs out there. So I would say that. Shout out to the Alfred University women's basketball team for giving me that question. Much appreciation to each and every single one of you. So Alfred University, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's Alyssa, maybe it's you guys, maybe it's the question, maybe it's Coach Mike, but there's something to be said about the good feeling I get about these Saxons. And I'm very excited for what's to come for you, Alyssa. I'm excited for the team. I'm excited for the history that's been made, and I think there's more history to come. So Alfred University, to the Saxons in general, to the women's basketball team, and to you and your story, I want to thank you so much for sharing that with me today. I'm excited, like I said, about what's to come, and I got some really positive energy from the Saxons, so I'm going to take that and use it in my day today and, you know, shovel my snow like a champion. So, thank you for the time, Alyssa, and thanks for keeping in touch, and your positive spirit is contagious, so thank you for that.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
So that coming from Alyssa DiMillo, Liverpool to Alfred University, and a ray of hope for a lot of people out there, Alyssa. Thank you.
Thank you.
That coming from Alyssa DiMillo here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly of an interview that I've ever done was to get that. So Greg says, absolutely one of the more prepared guests for the rapid fire segment. Congrats to you, Alyssa. Very prepared. I told her, I said, get them ready. Get those questions ready. And she did. So a big shout out to Alyssa for that. We're going to take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and take a fast break. When we come back, Papa Joe joins me for the very eventful NFL offseason. This might be one of the most fun off seasons the NFL's had in years. So we'll talk about it. A lot of names on your fantasy football team have changed jerseys. So we'll discuss after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets life.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Café Cubal needs. Café Cubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student-athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you, and always appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We are here with Papa Joe. It feels like forever since the last time he's been on the show. I've been running around the country. He's been doing his thing. He's wheeling and dealing. I'm wheeling and dealing. We're dealing and wheeling and wheeling and dealing. It's all over the place. So we're having a good time. We're having fun, and I'm so happy to have him back here with us. PJ is, this is the funny thing. Not the funny thing, but the real thing about life is, in the movie The Avengers, they make a statement where, they say, well, I have this and I have that. And they say, yeah, well, we have a Hulk. And so when I talk about that and I talk about my team, they're like, well, Dan, this show is this and this show is that. Yeah, but I have a Papa Joe. And so with that being said, I bring him in. PJ, how we doing today?
Hi, Daniel. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I got a PJ, and I'm happy to be here with him. Papa Joe here with us on Thursdays, hanging out with me here in hour number 2. Appreciate him so very much, and so thankful that he's here on the broadcast. A lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to get into here on the show. So a lot of messages that we're getting coming in here, and let's see what this says. Zeke Elliott will be finding. Zeke Elliott will be finding a new home, which is, I called that. I said that over these last couple of years. Tony Pollard was going to take over, and I wouldn't be surprised if Zeke wasn't on the team anymore and he was still under contract, but I had made that. Now he's looking for a new team. Bengals just got Burrow some serious O-line help, finally. The Jets are going to get Broadway diva Aaron Rodgers, DT's favorite. Running back might be taking over the backfield in New Orleans. So a lot of good stuff coming up here. Thank you, Greg. We got a lot of things to get into. Papa Joe and I are going to be talking about the NFL moves that are going on this offseason. Has been insane. So it's definitely a totally different look in what's going to be coming to the NFL in 2023-24. Very excited to talk about it. Very happy to have PJ on the show. But before we get there, I want to talk with PJ about the World Baseball Classic. Papa Joe, what have you been seeing from the Classic that you like?
Boy, it's good baseball, Daniel. When you see Venezuela and Puerto Rico and all of these Dominican Republic and the United States, the best athletes from the countries are playing.
Yeah.
Man, it's serious stuff right there. And I watched the last couple of days, watched Mike Trout go yard to win an easy game, but he had a 3-run homer in the first inning. And just yesterday, he and Mookie Betts teamed up to win 3-2. I think Betts scored all the runs, and Trout knocked in all the runs. So if you can imagine a team as loaded as we are, and with you got Betts leading off, and you got Trout to hit the second. Man, there's not an easy out anywhere in this. Got Paul Goldschmidt, and all these guys are just loving it. I mean, it's great to play for your country, and These guys are having fun, and they all know each other anyway. Whether you play with each other or against each other or about each other, whatever. It's just fun. It's fun to watch them and see how. What I like to see is some of the pictures from the foreign countries.
Yeah.
And I think I got this right a couple of days ago. The Detroit Tigers, I think, signed a 16-year-old pitcher. It boggles the mind. I mean, these kids unfortunately in the ravaged countries, play baseball with a ball of yarn wrapped up with some tape. In places like Curacao and Venezuela and all of the places that we don't think of that are baseball loaded, they are loaded. And these guys can play. And of course, the major leaguers that come into the league, they have their ethnicity. And so when it comes to something like this, like Machado, he's not playing for the United States. He's playing for someone else. So all of these guys with weird names and different and different backgrounds, and they all get together and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing too is, like you said, there's because we're in this World Baseball Classic, we're gonna see players from Major League Baseball playing for their home country, and we're gonna see some. We'll see. So you see some playing here and representing the United States, and then you see other ones representing that. So it divides up Major League Baseball, and it creates a very unique situation where the best players in Major League Baseball are not necessarily all representing the United States, which I think makes for a very unique tournament.
Yeah, very much so. And the good part about watching something like this, and for the players also, these players don't need any spring training.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going through a schedule here, and they're working hard. They're getting their at-bats. They're getting their fielding. They're getting their pitching. So really the guys that are already on the team, and I think there's 30 of them, are not going to worry about spring training because they're already going through it. So when the World Baseball Classic ends, these guys will be ready to start the season.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it, because as they go through spring training, this is their spring training. They're playing in a heated battle. I mean, you think about it and what this can be as a bookend. You're playing in a tournament trying to win a championship going into your baseball season, and then you're trying to get to the World Series coming out of the regular season for baseball. So there could be a player or two that's out there right now that's vying for a title in the World Baseball Classic that could be vying for a World Series title later on this year, which is pretty cool.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
Going to watch a lot of these guys playing ball. I'll probably recognize some of the names when they're on a major league roster.
Yeah, so
they're trying to sign.
And it's an exciting time of year. The World Baseball Classic, putting everybody up against each other in the world. I love that. I love seeing things like that and seeing the opportunity to really just, have something special at this time of year, and getting to see these, getting to see everybody develop and things go on. Shout out to Italy for what they've been doing in the World Baseball Classic, which is really cool. But, just seeing so many different, Puerto Rico and Mexico and the United States and Venezuela. The next game for the United States is this Saturday, March 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time against Venezuela, and it's going to be on Fox. We have, just a wonderful world of a schedule here in the World Baseball Classic, and it kind of gives you a feel of the Olympics, PJ. It kind of brings you to that place and gives you like Olympics here in the middle of the winter / heading toward the spring, which is a lot of fun. I mean, has the World Baseball Classic, been something that, you circle and has meant a lot to you? Does it mean more now? I mean, how do you view it?
Well, I'm a baseball guy. I mean, I don't make any dispute about that. I mean, I try to follow it 12 months a year, and sometimes these guys will play in the Cape Cod League in New England, or they play in Mexico for a while. I think it's important for us to understand that there's other countries out there that are not near as good as the United States. I mean, they're flat ass poor, but they can come up with some serious baseball players. Yeah. And that's what I try to look at. I try to look at some of the players that have not come from a privileged background that could make it on the big stage, And then there's some guys that just don't want to play. I don't know why they don't want to play, but maybe they haven't been chosen. But you imagine if you're the manager of the Mark DeRosa and you're the manager of the United States, who do you pick? And, you know, they got 30 players, and 12 of them or 13 or 14 have got to be pitchers.
Yeah.
So the other position players, who in the hell do you pick? And then if you ask them and they say no, well, then you move on to the next guy. But that's a tough job. But I think that this game against Venezuela is going to be a suit one. Venezuela is no slouch. I think they're undefeated. So they're going to be Trout and the boys are going to be tested, that's for sure. You know, guys like Trout and Betts and Goldsmith, I mean, these guys are pure professionals, been around for years, all stars, most valuable players. They're just great guys. And to have maybe some of the younger kids that were selected, or maybe some of the younger kids in some of the underprivileged countries get to look at Mike Trout walking across the field, taking batting practice, and you're sitting in your dugout looking at, man, I'm looking at Mike Trout. Are you kidding me? So, you know, it gives the kids that are learning the game that are real good but have yet to sign a major league contract, gives them something to look forward to.
Yeah, you know, and this is, and like, you know, we look at the interesting side of things, Papa Joe, and that's, you know, mentioning Mike Trout. You know, this is a guy who has been injured often, and, you know, these last couple of years and whatnot. And so, you know, to me, seeing him out there in general, I mean, that's a pretty special thing, you know, just to see him. You know, it's like Angels fans feel like maybe they've gotten cheated over the years, and now here he is playing in the World Baseball Classic as if nothing ever happened, which is pretty special.
True. I remember at the end of the season last year, Trout had just come back from off the injured list, and he was still MVP worthy. I mean, he hit 40 home runs and 100 and something RBIs. But there were some other players that had better years, especially Judge. Judge, I know, won it easily over Trout. It was the last game of the season, Daniel, and I happened to pick up the Angels. And Trout gets up there, and he smacked a 469-foot home run, which was the fourth longest of the year last year. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, this guy needs to be playing now instead of waiting till the end of the year or till next year. But he got a big smile on his face. He knew that he was in the groove, and that thing was a rocket, man, a real rocket. I don't know if there's too many stadiums that can hold a 469-foot drive.
Yeah, no, I mean, and when you look at these, you know, you look at what he's been able to do, and I mean, to me, it's good to have him back. It's good to see him. It's good to, you know, it's good to know that, you know, there's baseball with Mike Trout, and it's just unique. I mean, I feel like it's really unique in the sense of the fact that here we are watching him, and, you know, that's not something that we've been able to do with him with the Angels for a while. So I mean, I think I think fans are happy to see him, and I think they're like very cautious in like, please don't get hurt, don't get injured in the World Baseball Classic, because we need to see you all season for the Angels. So, you know, I think it's just kind of unique because we're all happy to have him back, and at the same time, I know that Angel fans are just praying to God that they actually get to see him play a full season.
Yep. You know, he's been injured a few times, but nothing really. One time he was injured seriously for the whole year. But other than that, he steps up. He steps up most of the time. When he got up, I forgot what the injury was last year, but anyway, he wanted to play at the end of the year because he still had a good season going. And he did, and he played well. And, you know, it's hard to imagine that Mike Trout is in his 30s now. And I remember him being a rookie when he was 19 years old or 20 years old.
Yeah. And
then he won the MVP. And he's won 2 more MVPs since then. So, you know, then you got most of the ball players are good guys, let's face it. I mean, there's some jerks out there. For instance, a guy like Trevor Bauer, who was a Cy Young Award winner pitcher. Now, you got to remember that not a lot of those around. This idiot has to get arrested on a domestic charge, and now he's suspended for 9 million days.
Yeah.
So what does this jerk do? He can't get back. He can't wait till the beginning of the season, because he should be able to play. No one's going to sign him. So he goes to Japan. He signed a 1-year deal in Japan. That's where he's going to play. I don't know what the press is going to do to him over there, but if he stepped foot on a ball field here, you have the women all over the country yelling.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You put him in a situation where, you get suspended, you can't play, so you go off to another country and say, okay, if you're not going to let me play there, then if you're not going to let me play in America, then I'll find my way somewhere else. And I mean, hopefully he takes care of whatever's going on. Hopefully he gets right himself. He heals from whatever's been affecting him, and make sure that he is a healthy contributor to society as we move forward. That's the hope. That's the desire. That's the focus. Should be the focus, right? It shouldn't be baseball. It should be in doing the right thing and making sure that he's growing as a human being. So hopefully hopefully he is. But I mean, these are unique situations, and the ability to jump ship and go to another country and sign a deal. I mean, we don't typically see it happen from players that are in MLB go somewhere else, but this is a unique situation to go to another country and say, okay, well, I'm going to go to whoever takes me. And hopefully, again, he's focused on the things that really matter beyond baseball and gets better, gets healthier. So I do want to shout out in the World Baseball Classic, we've gotten to see so many places, Japan, the Czech Republic, Chinese Taipei, as well as the Netherlands, Puerto Rico, Nicaragua, Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, the United States, Great Britain, Korea, so many, Australia, Panama, Italy, and on and on and on. I think I said Cuba, but if I didn't, the Netherlands also a part of this. And it was so cool. I mean, when you go back and you look at it, in the World Baseball Classic teams, Pool A was Chinese Taipei, which had group play in Taiwan. It was Chinese Taipei, Cuba, Italy, the Netherlands, and Panama. And then in Pool B, which played in Tokyo, Japan, we had Australia, China, Japan, Korea, Czech Republic. In Pool C, which was in Phoenix, Arizona, we had Canada, Colombia, Great Britain, Mexico, and the United States. Pool D in Miami, to the Dominican Republic, Israel, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela. So really, really awesome to see this World Baseball Classic. I hope you all have taken some time with it and enjoyed the fact that we have some uniqueness in the world of baseball going on right now, and a showcasing of the best players not only in Major League Baseball, but the best players around the world, and some names you may not know. So pretty cool stuff, PJ, and always appreciate things being a little bit different. So Greg said the World Baseball Classic is growing into a great event, especially still novel since it only plays every 4 years. In this year's case, every 5 years. You look at COVID. So, yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it comes to us like the Olympics, right? Every 4 years we're going to get, or like, I should say like the World Cup. It comes to us every 4 years like that. So we have the opportunity to see it now. And if you miss it now, then you got to be patient for 4 more years to see it again. So with that being said, pretty cool. PJ and I are staying on the field, but we're shifting to another field here, and that is the football field, Papa Joe. I'm going to leave this thing wide open, but I'm going to start it off because the NFL offseason moves are so vast and there's so many great things going on and really cool to keep track of. As March Madness has games all day, the NFL offseason seems to have moves all day. And so I would love to start off with your favorite player in the NFL who has an opportunity to continue on as a Saint, and that is your man, Jameis Winston.
My man, Jameis. Did the smart thing. He's staying with New Orleans, signed a 1-year deal, I guess, or something like that, or 2-year deal. Of course, backing up Derek Carr, you get a chance to watch another really good quarterback. I mean, heck, Derek Carr could even lead New Orleans to a playoff, and to a win, and to a world championship. But Jameis, hopefully he's healthy and got his head back on straight and tried to tell himself that interceptions are bad. TDs are good, Jameis. You got to remember that, Jameis. I tell you, it's coming hot and heavy. The one I'm looking at is the Sporting News free agent work. And seems like every second there's someone. The latest the latest one is 9:49 a.m. March 16th. The Patriots are holding veteran safety Taylor Rapp on Thursday. Rapp has averaged 96 tackles, 3 interceptions, 6 pass defenses, and a sack for 17 games over the last 2 seasons. He could help the team to replace the now retired Devin McCourtney. So there's so much activity, and it seems like it's coming every minute. There's something going on.
Yeah, no, it's been intense. It's been crazy. You feel like if you go to the bathroom for a second, you miss something. So it's funny, as we have March Madness when it comes to college basketball, we have March Madness when it comes to the NFL offseason. So we're getting multiple kind of ways of describing March Madness when we look at this stuff. And there's so many things that are happening here, and so many NFL transactions and NFL moves that have been going on here. And to take a look at these NFL moves, and like you said, I mean, there's things that are happening right now in this moment. There's a lot of great sites to go to track all this stuff. And so Leonard Fournette was released by Tampa Bay. So Leonard Fournette, who was a Jaguar and drafted in the top 4 that year, he is now a free agent after winning a Super Bowl with them, signing a 1-year deal and a 1-year deal. And then they finally signed him for a 3-year deal, but apparently did not hold true to that. So he has put him, he's now in a position where he could go where he wants to go. Miles Sanders, who has spent many years with the Philadelphia Eagles, he has now signed a 4-year, $25 million contract with Carolina. So Miles Sanders is going to be the bell cow of the Carolina Panthers right now. That's a big move if he stays healthy, and he has in recent years. So that's been good. Our guy James Robinson did something that Fred Taylor did. After being a Jaguar, now Fred didn't become a Jaguar then a Jet, but after being a Jaguar heading to the Patriots, James Robinson signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with New England, so he's going to be a New England Patriot. What's your thoughts on that, PJ? The fact that we've seen a couple of these running backs, Miles Sanders leave Philly for Carolina, and now see James Robinson become a Patriot.
You know, the pundits say that an average career in the NFL of a running back is maybe 4 years, tops maybe 4 years. And you know, these guys after 2 or 3, after the 3rd year, if they're not producing as much as they can, and they're maybe in the last year of a contract coming up, then they're either trade bait or they're released. It's sad, but you know, defensive guys can play 8-10 years, and certainly quarterback can play a million years, but running backs have it tough. And James Robinson was an excellent Jaguar for us, and I know he'll do a good job somewhere. But we had a hell of a back at the end. So, you know, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers a while ago, and you know, everyone thinks he's going to be a Jet, but that's not solid yet. You know, that's not a done deal. I mean, he's talking like a diva, which he usually does. Yeah, and he'd like to play for the Jets. He'd like to have some of his players come and visit him and play with him. Yeah. Alan Lazard was the 6'5" wide receiver that he threw to for a couple of years in Green Bay. All of a sudden, he's a Jet now. People are looking at it and they're saying, well, if Lazard is coming to the Jets, you got to have someone to throw to him. And is it Rodgers? Is it Rodgers? Is it not Rodgers? Is it Rodgers? I don't know. I said he's such a drama queen that everything revolves around him, and we're gonna have to wait and see. I don't think it's going to be resolved until the very last minute. I don't know what they're arguing about. It could be because he makes too much damn money, $50 million a year. Yeah. I don't know how they're gonna solve that. But in order to get him there, he's also requested some of his other wide receivers to play. You know, he's got a lot of balls. I'll tell you, he's just and he's keeping Green Bay at bay here. No pun intended, but it's not a good situation. I've already lost him. I don't care about him anymore. I've already given him up. You know, if he plays, I'm not going to watch the Packers with him playing. I've lost him. I don't want to talk about him anymore, unless he goes to another team, and then of course we have to because he's in the NFL. So we'll see what happens. But as we speak, I'm sure there's wrangling around the clock and trying to get some of his other wide receivers or people that he likes like OBJ, he wants to come and play with the Jets. I don't know how he can pull this stuff off, but he's pulling it off. But the last thing we got to hear is if he's a Jet. If he's a Jet, then we can talk some more.
Yeah, and I've discussed this on the show at length, and I've made my comments about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, diva at this point is, I think, an understatement. I think that Mariah Carey would probably come on the air and say that he's a little bit much. I think Madonna might say, I think he likes himself a little bit much. I think we've gotten to a point with Aaron Rodgers where I feel like if he goes to New York, there's also a good chance that maybe he could star in Sex and the City. I think that maybe it would be good for him to get on Days of Our Lives or All My Children, or not All My Children. Yeah, All My Children. That's one of those shows. In General Hospital, that's one of the soap operas. But I mean, this is dramatic. It's becoming a reality show in a stupid sense. It's it's funny though. If they did a reality show about his life, they would say one man living in a cabin by himself. And so, I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's ridiculous. But as we stand here right now, this is the news. So he wants to play for the Jets, and he was on the Pat McAfee show. He said, "Quote: At this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday I've made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets." So, he went on to say, "I got to admit, I went into the darkness 90% retiring." I don't believe that. 10% playing. That's where my mind was. My mind was, I'm tired of this. I hadn't gotten back in my workouts yet, and I thought that's what was best for me. So I went into the darkness, and I contemplated a lot of different things. But one day, I spent entirely on the reality I was retired, and one I spent on the reality that I was coming back and playing. And I just sat with that for hours and hours, what that looked like, what the reality is, how all that felt. When I came out, I was really interested in what the landscape was, where Green Bay was at, and if I wanted to play, what the options were, end quote. So, just looking at this and what he had to say. There's the thing, though. It's like what the options are. It's what you signed a contract with the Green Bay Packers. And again, right before he went in to his darkness retreat, and listen, I'm all about retreats and getting your mind right and setting that. I know that I've joked around about some stuff, and that's only because of the diva way that this thing's gone on. I'm not attacking going on a retreat by any stretch of the imagination. I've been on them. I think they're fantastic. I think there's a lot of good to them. I'm just over Aaron Rodgers holding people hostage and being a diva. But as we look at this here this morning, PJ, we just gotten to a point where it looks weird. It's strange. It's taking forever. But he made a comment before he went into the darkness, and he said, "I think that people have forgotten I'm a Green Bay Packer." And I said, no, people haven't forgotten you're a Green Bay Packer. You forgot you were a Green Bay Packer because you signed a contract last year after having a very messy divorce that came out into the public. And now here we are trying to figure out where things are going, where you signed a contract with them. And back in the day, you used to shake hands with somebody, look them in the eye, and your word was your bond. Then, if you were nervous about that, you had them sign something. So not only was their word their bond, but they had signed a legal piece of paper, and that legal document would hold up in court. Well, this man, I don't know if he shook hands and looked anybody in the eye, but he signed a piece of paper. And that signed piece of paper that he has says that he's under contract with the Green Bay Packers for a while now. Yet here he is, after taking on average $50 million a year from this team for the next multiple years. He gets a ton of money this year. They don't do anything. He goes into a darkness retreat, and he comes out of it saying, hey, I think I want to be a New York Jet. And you know what I would say if I was Green Bay? That's a great idea. You can do that when your contract's over. And I actually said that to a client who decided in the middle of our contract, or there was like a bunch of months left, they go, yeah, I don't really know how I feel about advertising, and I don't really think I want to advertise anymore, but thanks anyways. I don't think I'm going to pay you anymore. And my response to him was, that's a really good idea, and you can carry out that idea when this contract is over. But until this contract is over, you're going to pay me what you owe me. If you don't want to advertise your business, that's all well and good. but you signed a contract for the next 4 months, so you can pay me for the next 4 months, and I will promote you for the next 4 months, and then you can do what you want to do. When you sign a contract, it's supposed to hold weight. And what coaches have shown people, what players have shown people, what they're showing the youth of today, and really just people in general, is you don't have to be committed to your word. You don't have to be committed to your signature. You don't have to be committed to your bond. You could tell somebody yes on Monday, no on Tuesday, maybe on Wednesday, and back to yes on Thursday. And that's not something we should be teaching in society.
Well, he's still got some options. One of the options, of course, we know is he won't play anywhere, which I don't think that'll happen.
No.
The other option is he wants to play with Green Bay. I don't think that's going to happen either. I think what they're doing is they're just wrangling around. I think Green Bay's looking for, 4 or 5 different package of draft picks, a second round here, a third round here, 2 fourth round, something like that, to make it sound like it's a good deal. I like the idea of just getting rid of them for draft picks. I think that's a good idea. The Packers and most of the teams have proved over the years that there's an awful lot of value in the draft, whether it's first round or 7th round, all the way through. And there's a lot of good ball players out there. They have some great ball players too, that need to be recognized and need to play. And I think that's what's coming in here. He doesn't. I don't know how. I try to be gentle with the guy, but I've had so much of it with my bros up in Milwaukee that I just don't want to talk about it anymore. But he's a unique guy, and he's gonna get what he wants.
Yeah.
But first of all, they gotta make a deal before this to go through. Now, if New York is balking at that, and if it's too much for them, and they can't absorb a $50 million payroll, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe part of the deals is the Green Bay's going to pay 50% of the $50 million or something like that. There's all sorts of ways to make a deal, but right now it's not being done. Probably by the time we're done talking, it may be done, but it looks like he's going to be a Jet, and if that's the case, then the Green Bay's got to move on with their quarterback of the future, which he's no bargain, but he's got to do the job.
I think I know how they can get it done with the contract. I think they can just call the Mets or the Yankees and ask them to pay part of it since their payroll's so high.
That'll work. That'll work. Stock better come out of his grave for that one.
Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers, I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? And where was Mariah Carey last seen in a big way was in New York City. So, divas go to New York City. And listen, I like New York City. There's a lot of great people in New York City. And there's a lot of people that go to New York City or LA because they want everybody to stare at them. They like the look at me society. So we'll see what Aaron Rodgers does. But as of right now, he's under contract with the Green Bay Packers. I think somebody should probably call him up and tell him that, since he's the only one that seemingly forgot it. But, he said that he wants to be a Jet. That's what he wants to do now. And I guess when you sign contracts and then just publicly say, well, I want to do something else, I guess that's fine, right? You don't have to abide by it. I mean, when you get married, you walk down the aisle on a Saturday, and then on Sunday, you tell your wife, you go, hey, I think I want to marry your sister. And so you just, change the name on the marriage certificate, and now you're with her sister. I guess that's how it works, in Aaron Rodgers' world at least.
We don't have to... We can't forget the fact that he's an extraordinary ball player.
He is, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's a four-time MVP, unheard of in the NFL. And at 39 years old, coming to be 40 when he's going to be playing ball, he's probably still got something in the tank. I don't know where his head's going to be at, but I think if he has a few of his buds around to make things a lot easier for him, he can still run the show. So we just can't forget the fact that he's a future Hall of Famer and an extraordinary ball player. So whatever he does, fine. Just go do it, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, listen, he's a very talented player, and no one's going to take that away from him. He's extremely talented. He just, with the talent, I would like to see a little bit of maybe some just make up your mind, maybe keep your word, if it wasn't working with Green Bay last year, then why did you go back? Why didn't you, take a year off, get your body right, and reflect? He's under contract until 2020, so he could become an unrestricted free agent in 2025. He's under contract till 2026, but there's an opportunity for him to come out. So he owes the Packers 2 more seasons, is how it currently stands right now. Those seasons, so actually he owes them 3 more seasons, including this year. So this year he's going to count for $31.6 million as a cap hit. Next year it'll be $40.7, and the year after that it'll be $59.3 million that he would cost somebody to take him on. So Jets.
It's a filthy amount of money, isn't it?
Yeah, so Jets,
Filthy amount of money.
Jets, Mets, and Yankees. You know what? I think if the airport in LaGuardia sells 5 more cheeseburgers, they can afford that $59 million. I think they just got to sell 5 more. Because it cost me, I'm going to tell you, PJ, I went to LaGuardia Airport and I was looking for food and it was slim pickings where I was. Guess how much my cheeseburger was?
Jeez, $10?
$28.
Oh my goodness gracious! You're broke. No wonder you didn't call me for money, for Christ's sake.
$28. Thank God it's a write-off. That's all I'm saying on that.
Football's all fun, and of course I love Syracuse is making a rally, and I know it's good to talk about those coaches. But Daniel, I have to. Did you get my picture this morning?
Did I get your picture this morning?
Did you get my picture this morning?
I don't. Did you send? You sent me okay, let me check. PJ said he sent me a picture. Let me see if I can look it up here. Did I get your picture? I did not get a picture from you this morning. I didn't get one. So
Accident? You didn't get it?
I did not get it. No. What'd you send me?
Well, I sent you the picture of the vet.
Okay. Yeah, you got to send me another picture. I didn't get it.
All right. Joe and I were slamming around this last weekend, and we were just bouncing all over the place, and we decided to go into my buddy's classic car museum, which is around the corner from me. And we decided to walk through the museum, and my buddy was there. He says, Joe, I want to show you something. So we all go back in the museum, all the way in the back left-hand side. There's 3 or 4 Corvettes there. And there's one that's absolutely called Laguna Blue. The blue is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and I looked at Joe, and Joe says, uh-oh. And I said, Sydney, I got to have this car. He says, well, it's for sale. I can tell you, there's an older guy in Palm Coast that has it, and he's older than you are. And he says he can't drive it anymore because he's got a bad back, he's got a bad hip and stuff like that. I said, well, I got all that, and I still drive. He says, well, he doesn't want it anymore, but he's being real tough. He said he's declined this amount of money, this kind of money. He said, so I said, all right, mate. I said, I told Sydney, here's my bottom dollar. Make him an offer. And 2 or 3 days later, Sydney is going back and forth with the guy. Guy still doesn't budge. So finally, Sydney calls me and says, you got a deal. I said, oh, I about died. And of course, with that, I had to, go pay for it and everything like that, and had to bring MT. MT didn't know what we were doing. So she comes in and I says, Mary, I got to show you something. And she says, what did you do? I says, let me show you something. So we go all the way in the back of the museum, and there's the car right there. And I said, I look at it. Look at that, Mary. He says, oh. She said, this is beautiful. Oh, my goodness. Whose car is that? And I said, it's ours.
Yeah.
So anyway, the car is a beauty. And the good thing about it, it's 7 years old, Daniel. It's a 2016.
Yeah.
7 years old. And it's got 9,800 miles on it. So I paid a little bit of a premium for it because of that. I mean, if you try to put a pencil to it, the guy drove it a little over 1,000 miles a year for 7 years.
Yeah.
So it smells brand new. It's perfect condition. I'm real excited. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers he can afford 20 of these cars if he wants to, but I can only afford one. So Mary and I stepped out and we bought it. That's where I stand with that.
Yeah, no, and I'm happy. I'm happy that you guys did, because I said it's been a minute since you've been wheeling and dealing. So I'm happy that PJ's out there wheeling and dealing and getting things done. Other quarterbacks around the league, and I do want to let people know, I've joked about stuff, we talked about stuff. The thing I don't like about Aaron Rodgers is the diva, dramatic. That's what I don't like. Is he talented? Yes. Would he be great on a team without the drama? 1,000,000%. So let me be clear on that. I have never said he's not talented. I've never said he's not good. I've never said he isn't an MVP caliber guy. And I've backed him for many, many, many years. I just don't like where he's at right now because it just seems to be way too dramatic for me, to the point where I'd be like, yeah, you're talented, but I don't know if I want to deal with you. And he's in that territory right now. He got there for me quicker than he got there for PJ, but now PJ's there. So we're both there. We're both looking at Aaron going, figure it out. Let us know when you do it and whatever.
Do it already. What is this? Do it already.
So, yeah, we look at this, and as we look at it, we look at other quarterbacks and quarterbacks that have made some moves here. PJ Walker, a.k.a. Philip Walker, that I covered at Temple, he's been filling in for Carolina for a while. He just signed a 2-year deal to become a quarterback on the Chicago Bears. 2 years, $5 million. PJ Walker going to Chicago via Carolina. Matt Ryan has been released by the Indianapolis Colts. I said a couple years ago that he had about a couple years, in my opinion, and those couple years might be done. We could see Matt Ryan retiring or maybe going and teaching somebody as a backup on a team for the next year or two. We shall see. Tyler Huntley is going to be staying in Baltimore, a 1-year, $2.627 million deal to be there for them. He helped them out and did some good things with them and almost helped them win a playoff game. Baker Mayfield has signed a 1-year, $4 million deal to potentially be the quarterback of the new era, sans Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Jacoby Brissett, the journeyman who comes from NC State, where I covered him, he has signed a 1-year deal, $8 million with the Washington Commanders, who are quarterback collectors. Jameis Winston, as we mentioned, a 1-year, $4 million deal. Winston is staying with New Orleans. And then we have Andy Dalton is still rocking and rolling, still wheeling and dealing. He was a Bengal, then he was a Cowboy. This man's been all over. He's been to New Orleans. Now he's going to Carolina, staying in the NFC South. 2 years, $10 million. $10 million. Andy Dalton is still a quarterback in the NFL. Kirk Cousins did a little conversion with his, but he's staying with Minnesota. Taylor Heineke, get your hands off my Heine. He's going to Atlanta, 2 years, $14 million. And Mike White, the quarterback that bailed out the Jets a few times, he's signing a 2-year, $8 million deal with Miami. So that's what's happening with that. Jimmy Garoppolo, who we thought would be on the move potentially last offseason, he is going to be the potential leader of the future for the Raiders. 3 years, $72.75 million. Put that into perspective, folks. Let's go back up to some of these I was talking about. You got 2 years for $5 million. He signed 3 years for over $72 million. Case Keenum, still a quarterback in the NFL, and he signed 2 years, $6.25 with Houston. Jared Stidham, who was first with the Patriots, he's now 2 years, $10 million with the Denver Broncos. Sam Darnold has been around the league. He's with San Francisco now. 1 year, $4.5 million. We'll see if that sticks. Easton Stick is going to be sticking around with the Chargers, and that's 1 year, $1.8 million. And then we look at Tua. He exercised his $23.17 million fifth-year option for 2024 has been exercised by Miami. So Miami still believes in Tua. They're giving him a fifth year. And as we look down this list here, Lamar Jackson was offered the franchise tag, but it's a non-exclusive one, so he can go and talk with other teams. Marcus Mariota was released by Atlanta. No surprise there. Based on what we had been seeing. Geno Smith is extending 3 years, $75 million with Seattle. A guy that we thought might have been out of the NFL just signed 3 years for $75 million. That's an average of $15 million a year. And then we look at Derek Carr, 4 years, $150 million with New Orleans. So a lot of stuff here. Carson Wentz, the former number 2 pick, was released by Washington. So there's a lot of things going on. And Chad Henne retired from the NFL about 5 seconds after Kansas City won the Super Bowl. Big shout out to Chad Henne, former Jaguar, who I've gotten to interview in my travels. So a lot of stuff here, PJ. A lot of guys on the move. Long list to talk about. So What's on your mind with some of these guys that have either changed teams or extended?
All right, with the exception of Garoppolo, Carr, and Mayfield, all the guys you noted are all journeyman backup players. Some of them are better than others. Some of them probably landed in a better spot than others. I don't see a lot of value with a lot of these guys that are been signed up. I just don't see it. But in the NFL, it's almost imperative that you have at least 2 quarterbacks and maybe even 3 quarterbacks on your team, because we know how fragile these guys are. Garoppolo was a great deal for Las Vegas, absolutely great deal with Las Vegas. He gets to throw to Devontae Adams. Are you kidding me? There's nothing wrong with that. And of course, Derek Carr moves into a great situation in New Orleans, and Baker Mayfield gets to resurrect his career. I don't call him a backup. He's still a starter in my he can do the job at Tampa. Kyle Trask, go Gators, is supposed to be the quarterback there of the future, but with Mayfield coming in, it's going to be a lot different. A lot of guys moving around like this. I do feel like I got a comment about Lamar Jackson. I've been watching Lamar very closely over the last 6 months or so. Now, Lamar does not have an agent, and if you think you're smart enough to sell yourself in this league, then perhaps you don't need an agent. But all of these guys that we just talked about, everyone's got an agent. I mean, and you can name there's probably 5 guys in the whole league that don't have an agent. Now, Lamar should have settled on a contract a couple of years ago. And the only problem I have with this is that he's not, I don't know how to say this, but he doesn't project the value of himself to sign. And I don't know why that is. He's certainly an extraordinary quarterback. I mean, I know that, and even though I don't particularly like the way he runs, but that's beside the point. It's someone needs to step in and say, Drew Rosenhaus especially, Lamar, look you're leaving a lot of flow on the table, bro. You're leaving a lot of flow on the table. Let me help you out, and let's see what happens. I don't know whether to say other than that.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson, listen, and I put up a poll, should he stay or should he go somewhere else? The majority of you believe he should leave Baltimore, and it seems like it's not working out there. So, at this point, I think, and there's a franchise tag, there's a non-exclusive franchise tag, and the non-exclusive franchise tag allows him to talk to other teams and see what his value is, and then from there, Baltimore can match it. But ultimately, they're giving him the opportunity to go out there. Maybe Baltimore feels ballsy. Maybe they're saying, hey, you know what? We don't think you're worth as much as you think you are, so we're going to let you go out there and hear what people think you're worth, and then when you find out, you'll come crawling back to us. Maybe that's the play. I don't know. But it just seems sad that this is going on. I want to talk about how things can get a little hasty. JaMycal Hasty, 2 years, $2.9 million contract extension. What do you think about JaMycal Hasty, who they got during the season from the 49ers, is going to be sticking around Jacksonville in their backfield?
I love it. Love the way the kid plays. He's got a lot of energy. To back up someone like Travis Etienne, it's wonderful. I think it's a great move, and he deserves it. And same with Wingard. Wingard plays with all sorts of energy, flies all over the field, breaking up passes, making interceptions, making tackles, sacks. These guys like this, young guys like this, are what makes the Jaguars popular to me. They're just a great group of guys. Now, the more we talk about the Jaguars, the more we have to say that they haven't really gotten involved too heavy in the free agent market because they got a loaded roster. Now with Calvin Ridley, they don't need any help. I mean, they got their defense is set, their offense is set. I don't know where else guys can look. Maybe they'll throw something on the table for us in the next couple of days. But they've been lacking in the free agent market because they don't need anyone.
Yeah, people ask me where Jacksonville should go, and I just said, look to give depth and bolster up the offensive and defensive line. That's how you win championships. I took that from George O'Leary many years ago when he was at UCF, a former assistant here in Syracuse for the football team, and I agree with it. And I think that's where they need to go. They could maybe go after a linebacker and look at their secondary a little bit, but you got your wide receivers, you got your running backs, you got your quarterback, you got your kicker. My guy, my dude, very proud of him, Riley Patterson. So, you got the guys that you need in a lot of different areas. You got a great punter in Logan Cook. So, really to me, it's building up the offensive and defensive line. Staying with the running backs, I got to shout out my guy from Cincinnati that I covered with the Bearcats, Mike Boone. He has continued to find a place in the NFL. He's got 2 years, $3.1 million to be in the backfield of the Texans. So big shout out to him for that. Another guy I covered, Travis Homer. Big shout out to him from Miami. He's going to the Chicago Bears. He was a Hurricane in college. 2 years, $4.5 million. Jeff Wilson's going to be coming back to Miami, so that's another thing there. David Montgomery, this happens a lot, folks, when players switch within their own division. David Montgomery going from the Bears to the Lions. 3 years, $18 million, going to make $6 million a year on average. Montgomery is. Raheem Mostert's back with Miami. And then J.D. McKissick was released by Washington. Rashad Penny signed a 1-year deal to go to Philadelphia, $1.35 million. And looking at some other things here, I told you, Tony Pollard, I've told you for 2 years now. I said Tony Pollard is getting set up to take the job in Dallas. And I said this season, don't be surprised if they let go of Ezekiel Elliott. Don't be surprised if they release him. They know who their guy is. Their guy is going to be Tony Pollard. Don't be surprised if Zeke's not on the team. And people say, well, Danny's still under contract, blah, 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 blah. And Ezekiel Elliott looks like he's not going to be on the team anymore. So, sad thing for Zeke. I'm not happy for it for Zeke. And, I saw the writing on the wall for Tony Pollard taking over. And we'll see what happens with Zeke because he was supposed to be the guy, right? And it just hasn't worked out. He hasn't stayed healthy. He's had other issues. And so hopefully things will get better for him. Jamal Williams is leaving Detroit, 3 years, $12 million to go to New Orleans. So now him and Alvin Kamara are going to be in the backfield in New Orleans, who's going to have Derek Carr as their quarterback. They're going to retain Michael Thomas, who we still can't figure out, has he been injured or does he just not want to play football in New Orleans? But it seems like New Orleans is making some good moves, PJ.
Yes, absolutely. I do want to shout out to my man Juwan Taylor, go Gators, who is leaving Jacksonville and going to Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that because they're the Super Bowl champions. I mean, I know Kansas City lost their big tackle to Cincinnati, or Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's probably going to buy this guy a house for crying out loud. But Taylor to Kansas City is just going to fill that spot that we just vacated. So there's really not a lot of activity with the Jags. I don't think we need to see anymore. I just think we need to see a nice, good, clean camp, good summer, and a nice camp in the fall, and start rocking and rolling. Because these guys have got it, Daniel. They've got it. They showed it last year. They got it, and they're going to have it this year.
Do you want me to? So this is what's going on here with Jacksonville, so that people know. So this is where things are at. Roy Robertson Harris, a defensive tackle, he's been on the show this past season, signed a 3-year, $21.6 million contract extension to remain with Jacksonville. My guy, Foye Oluokun, linebacker, he converted some money here. So where he's clearing up cap space for Jacksonville. So thank you to Foye for that. Jermichael Hasty, we talked about, is back. And then Christian Kirk cleared up some cap space for the team. And so did Zay Jones, two guys that signed big contracts that ended up being the right decision for Jacksonville. A lot of people question it. And the money, I like that the guys were coming in. The money was high. And, the money's been worth it. So shout out to Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Love having both of them on the show. Awesome guys, and I appreciate them so very much. Brandon Sheriff, he converted some money. So a lot of these guys clearing up cap space for Jacksonville is what the offseason's been. Evan Engram was offered the franchise tag to make $11.345 million with the Jaguars, who haven't given him a long-term deal yet. Shaquille Griffin cornerback on the team was released by Jacksonville, which cleared up over $13 million. So they seem to be clearing up a lot of money so that they can pay for those rookies and maybe make some moves. But they haven't made many moves. However, 2 days ago, my man Dewey, who's been on the show, safety Andrew Wingard, 3 years, $9.6 million, and he's coming back. So, PJ, what do you think about Evan Engram on the franchise tag, Andrew Wingard, a.k.a. Dewey, and Roy Robertson Harris? Those moves have been made, and it looks like those guys will be back.
Oh, love Engram. He's proved to me that he's a NFL tight end last year. He proved an awful lot to me. Most of these NFL quarterbacks, they have a security blanket, and it's usually the tight end. Gronkowski proved that over the years. Tony Gonzalez proved that over the years. Engram is exactly the way. That's who Trevor Lawrence needs. He needs someone that he can flare out to, or maybe take a deep pass on a linebacker or something like that. Everyone you talked about are essential to the Jags, and I don't have any problem with Evan Engram being the tag, getting the tag money. None at all. Let's see how it shakes out. But you look at the offense, Daniel. There are no weaknesses in the offense. Now that Juwan Taylor is gone, they got to bring someone in to fill that. I think they got the black kid from Stanford. I think he can fill in. I forgot his first name.
And so, you're talking about. So, with Juwan, you're talking about Walker Little, or not Walker Little? Who are you talking about for on the offensive line?
Yeah, the offensive line from Stanford, big guy.
Yeah. So I think you're talking about Walker Little.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, Walker. Yeah. Anyway, that's if he fills in, and the Jaguars sign a couple of free agents more, or perhaps maybe to get him in the draft. It's a good team. It's a really solid team. I don't, you got a Hall of Fame. For my opinion, you got a Hall of Fame coach who's now a coach of the year. This situation is the best that it's ever been. Even going back to the days with Mark Brunell, with Jimmy Smith and McCardle and all those guys.
Yeah.
Fred Taylor. This is as good as it gets right now going into a season.
Yeah, I mean, I think, coming in here, and like we were saying here, I think, filling in at right tackle will be Walker Little since he filled in at tackle this year. So Cam Robinson, Walker Little coming to the team and, coming from Stanford, and he did a tremendous job. And you didn't even know that there was any injuries to the offensive line this year. The injuries came late in the season with the team vying to win the division, vying to get into the playoffs, and then winning a playoff game. And that happened with Walker Little out there. So shout out to Walker and much appreciation to him for the work that he has done. So, I mean, it's been great, and I think that there's a lot of good to be had here. And I'm definitely happy to see that's gone on here. So we look at some of the wide receivers that are here. Kenny Galladay has been released by the Giants. The former was supposed to be the number one guy in Detroit. He's now been released by the Giants. Juju, after winning a Super Bowl at Kansas City, he's now going to the Patriots, his third team in the NFL, all in the AFC, 3 years, $25.5 million. So looking at him doing that. And then Michael Thomas, like I said, he restructured his contract. He's staying in New Orleans. We don't know if he's playing, but we know he's staying. Allen Lazard signed a 4-year, $4 million contract, $1 million a year. Got to keep it cheap because he thinks he's playing with Aaron Rodgers again. So, Allen Lazard signing with the Jets, he's somebody that when Aaron has gone out and talked about his receivers maybe not doing that great of a job, Allen Lazard wasn't one of those guys. So he used to be on the practice squad of the Jaguars. Then he went to the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers fell in love with him. Now he's on the Jets, so people are thinking that is obviously a sign of what's to come. Jacoby Myers, a good possession receiver for the Patriots, is now a Raider. 3 years, $33 million. So he gets to, this is cool, he gets to link up with Jimmy Garoppolo. So two former Patriots will be together in Vegas with the Raiders. And looking at some of these other ones, Sterling Shepard, he's going to stay a Giant still. And a lot of guys were converting money out here. DJ Moore was traded to Chicago with a 2024 first round pick, 2025 second round pick, 2023 first round pick, and 2023 second round pick for the number one overall pick. So DJ Moore going to Chi-Town, Carolina getting the number one overall pick, DJ Moore becoming a Bear. DJ was never, he would get 1,000-yard seasons, but he was never that consistent. And so that's something that we look at. Adam Thielen of the Minnesota Vikings, he got released, so he's looking for a new home. So that'll be interesting to see what he's going to do there, PJ. So, I mean, there's a bunch of moves here. There's guys that are out there that have been released, and there's some more moves. I mean, I think the Juju Smith-Schuster going to the Patriots, I think that's something to talk about, as well as seeing, so Jacoby Myers going to the Raiders and Juju going to the Patriots. I think those are two moves that we got to mention here, as well as the fact that Kenny Galladay, a young receiver, has been released, and we also see, the release of Adam Thielen, which is kind of sad.
Well, Adam Thielen is going to find a home somewhere. He's a great possession receiver. Talk about a security blanket for the Minnesota's quarterback. He was definitely that. I mean, this guy was for a couple 3 years, man. He was as good as Cooper Kupp. I mean, they couldn't cover this guy. But with age, you slow down half a step. You got some of the younger guys come in. They're 5-6 years younger and they're faster. They don't need a guy like Adam Thielen anymore. Someone's going to pick him up, though. I guarantee you. Someone who's an offensive, a coach who is an offensive coordinator, like an Andy Reid or someone like that, or Doug Peterson, will pick up someone like Adam Thielen, no doubt.
Yeah, and Zeke Elliott, going back to him, he was supposed to be under contract through the 2026 season, and that is obviously not going to.
Zeke slowed down an awful lot this year, Daniel. He really did. I mean, Pollard, we could see Pollard asserting himself and on the field in third down and flaring out for passes and stuff. Zeke just slowed down a little bit. But someone will pick him up. I don't know if they'll be able to afford the contract, but someone will pick him up.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where things go from here. But a lot of moves have been made for sure in the NFL. And PJ, before I let you go, would love to get your thoughts on Jim Boeheim and the fact that he's retired, because this is the first time in almost 50 years that the Syracuse Orange are going to have a new head coach. So I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Well, he's an extraordinary guy. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, of course, we know. He won a world championship, an NCAA world championship. I mean, he recruited well, he coached well, his sons played well. I mean, there's not much you can say bad about Jim Boeheim, and he certainly made Syracuse one of the spots to play in college basketball. Now with your new coaches coming in, I think that they're probably going to keep that going. Boeheim, he was a surly guy every once in a while, like the grumpy lobster bowl captain over there in Boston, but he got the job done, and no one could criticize him. I mean, he won forever. I mean, how do you stay in one spot for 47 years and win? That's amazing. I don't know how many wins he's got, but it's probably well over 1,200. I mean, how many wins he got?
1,116. Okay,
so that's an average of maybe 30 wins a year or 28 wins a year. That's incredible. That's great. Well, let's see what the new boys can do. I know that the McEnroe boy signed up now, and his whole family played for Syracuse, I believe, just about. So the new guys coming in, your young man Autry, is that his name?
Yeah, Adrian Autry, yeah.
He's looks like he's been around, and he's been Boeheim's assistant for several years. I think he knows what he's doing. Let's put it that way. And he's an excellent recruiter. That I've already heard. So him being good with X's and O's, and an excellent recruiter, and designating players or coaches to take over different jobs, I think that's one of his strengths also. But Jim Boeheim will always be remembered as Syracuse University.
Yeah, he definitely will. And we've seen a lot of coaches hanging up. I mean, PJ, with NIL, with name, image, and likeness, and the transfer portal, and essentially collegiate athletics not being collegiate athletics anymore, but being more professional athletics, do you think that's why we've seen Jay Wright at Villanova at 60, 61 years old, Coach K, Roy Williams, Mike Bray now stepping away from coaching at Notre Dame, Jim Boeheim? Do you feel like these coaches are stepping away? They've been around forever because of collegiate athletics changing and the NCAA really not having control of it?
Absolutely, positively. Coach K coached young men to graduate from Duke University and or play basketball forever. That's what Coach K does. The guys that you did, Mike Bray, all these guys, they're classic old-time coaches that have not adhered to the new bouncing all over the place, these kids. I mean, it's like free agency in football. I mean, these scholarships at these colleges cost $35,000, $40,000 a year, and these kids are bouncing all over the place, without any trepidation at all. I don't like it, which is probably one of the reasons why I don't follow it anymore. And I think that the men that we talked about are justified in leading the game. But if they can't adjust to the way new things are done and do it legally, let me say, then they don't need to be around.
That coming from Papa Joe. Very succinct and clear point. I understand it very much. So PJ, talk about the World Baseball Classic, the NFL moves, and Jim Boeheim and the coaches that have wrapped it up in college, and if that has to do with the changing times of college. And beyond everything else, PJ giving his thoughts on famous Jameis Winston.
Oh, man, Jameis. My man has still got another year left. He's got to back up Derek Carr. My goodness. I hope you learned something, Jameis.
And I think the quote of the year so far is, Jameis has to learn interceptions bad, touchdowns good. That's probably PJ's quote of the century right now.
All right. See you later.
Take care. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside, wrap up the show, get you ready for TGIF, and get you ready for one of my two favorite days of the year, which is the round of 64 NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament with games from noon until midnight. We'll talk about the schedule right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Q's, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can find us here on Facebook.com and YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com. WakeUpCallDT.com and WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So make sure you check us out on all of our outlets worldwide, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And once the shows go live, you can find us in the archive. I'm going to be adding a bunch of stuff to the archive today, so check it out. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these outlets. Go to the app. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can go to your search engine, any search engine, Safari, Google, whatever, and type in Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they will take you to these wonderful places as well. A big shout out to our Central and Upstate New York partners, all of our incredible, wonderful people that are part of our team that we get to work with. There's a difference between a team and teammates. Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Avicoli's, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, Mother's Cupboard, Great Lakes Honda City, 317 at Montgomery. The name of the restaurant is the name of the location, 317 Montgomery Street in downtown Syracuse. Pizza Man, and of course we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your College Dolphins. It just fins up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, bringing you our opportunities to speak with the Dolphins and cover them in a way that they have never experienced before. The spotlight on Lemoyne has never been greater, and there are so many reasons why that spotlight is imperative, not just in our community, but beyond. The stories that we get to tell are incredible. The people are incredible behind them. And I'm so honored to do AD and DT every first and third Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. He joined us yesterday from down in Florida, Leesburg, Florida, which I know very well, being on WLBE's radio station a few years back. So very happy that Bob is down there and supporting the softball team, as well as keeping an eye on baseball, lacrosse programs, and the tennis teams from afar. So a big shout out, and I'm going to be sharing that special we did with Bob because it was a ton of fun and great to see him down there supporting softball, who's having themselves, and I mean this fully pun intended, they're having a ball down there in Florida. Got some nice weather today, which is good because it had been cold in the Orlando area, a little bit rainy. So I hope the weather holds up and they have a great time and they get to enjoy it. You can see Dolphin diving into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni by simply going to our show live every every second and fourth Wednesday of each month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can go to the archive to check it out as well by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt for all our AD and DT and Dolphin Dive episodes and all of our specials with Lemoyne. You can go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt as well as the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com and click subscribe on both so that you'll never miss a moment. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcats got a ton of great things going on. They have a men's and women's soccer teams that have won national championships, and I am so happy to have them on the broadcast throughout the year. We also have the opportunity of men's and women's basketball and all of the wonderful stories that we've gotten to tell there with Tay Baker, Clay Gagan Sherman, and in the past with Danny Frasina. So big thanks to them. And of course, we are in the inaugural season for baseball with the Bobcats as we get to celebrate the Bobcats and the story that is being written daily by Sean Peak and the inaugural baseball roster at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. So a lot of great stuff coming up, a lot of great things to be had, and appreciate the Bobcats for all that they do. You can check out the Bobcat Buzz by going to the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, staying close to our social media, finding out when the next one's coming, and of course you can also go and connect yourself to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt so you never miss an opportunity to connect with us again when it comes to the Bobcats. So make sure you go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And of course, for more information on the Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, on Wake Up Call on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Whenever we're airing a special or something's coming up with the Bobcats, the Dolphins, or anything that we're doing, that's how you get to it instantaneously. And that's how, besides being a part of the live show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, that is the best way to connect with us to know when things are coming. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. I promised you that we'll be talking about where college basketball is going to be today as one of my two favorite days of the year and favorites of the tournament has us in a position right now where we could take a look at one of my two favorite days, like I said, which is today because there are games from noon until midnight. The NCAA tournament round of 64 men's Division I tournament starts off with number 9 West Virginia, number 8 Maryland, 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Number 13 Furman, number 4 Virginia, 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time on True TV. Number 10 Utah State, number 7 Missouri, 1:40 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. All these times are Eastern Time, so I don't have to keep saying it for you. Number 16 Howard, number 1 Kansas at 2 p.m. on TBS. Number 16, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, who won their play-in game, versus number 1 overall seed Alabama, 2:45 p.m. on CBS. Number 12, College of Charleston, one of my upsets, against number 5, San Diego State, at 3:10 p.m. on True TV. Number 15, Princeton, number 2, Arizona, 4:10 p.m. on TNT. Number 9, Illinois, number 8, Arkansas, 4:30 p.m. on TBS. Number 9, Auburn, number 8, Iowa. So three of those number 8-9, three of the 8-9 matchups are all happening today, and one tomorrow. So number 9 Auburn, number 8 Iowa, 6:50 p.m. TNT. Number 12 Oral Roberts, number 5 Duke, 7:10 p.m. on CBS. Number 15 Colgate, number 2 Texas, 7:25 p.m. on TBS. I'll be watching that one. Number 10 Boise State, number 7 Northwestern, 7:35 p.m. on True TV. Number 16, Northern Kentucky. Number 1, Houston, 9:20 p.m. on TNT. Number 13, Louisiana. Number 4, Tennessee at 9:40 p.m. on CBS. Number 10, Penn State. Number 7, Alabama and Texas A&M, 9:55 p.m. on TBS. And the final game of the day, number 15, UNC Asheville against number 2, UCLA at 10:05 p.m. on True TV tonight. Noon until midnight, folks. Get ready, get amped. I'm going to share once again. If you're making your bracket last minute, put it into our pool. I'm going to put it on social media where you have to go to follow that link. I'm going to put my breakdown of the bracket on there, and I'm going to get Ross and my show up there, and I'm going to show you the picture of my bracket so you have all of that. So there's a lot coming up. Even though the show's ending, it never truly ends. This is Wake Up Call. We appreciate you. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Have a fantastic day. Thanks to Alyssa DiMillo and Papa Joe, and I'll talk with you soon. Two fighters in my life that have taught me to keep going, to keep pushing, to never give up, and to always keep the important things, and focus on the good.